the host of Levin TV, CRTV Network. I call him the Great One. You know what it's like to get you on the show? It's like pulling teeth. You know that? We're glad to have you back, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm laying out the basics here. You put together in a very comprehensive way, and I give you a lot of credit for putting all this together. This isn't the right-wing conspiracy. This isn't conservative Sean Hannity, conservative Mark Levin. This is the New York Times. This is McClatchy. Explain.
And yet it's only conservatives who are concerned about what they're reading in liberal media outlets. Have you noticed that? The media is very confounded right now. They're very confused. They don't know whether to trash themselves, trash their colleagues, or what. Now, you asked a question. You said, what did Obama know? We know he knows this much. Everything you just read, he knew, because it's in the newspapers. That's pretty big. Number two, we know that if a FISA warrant was secured, it's very likely in his daily intelligence briefing or a call from the Attorney General or the Director of the FBI, the President would be given a heads up. There's nothing illegal about it, but he'd be given a heads up. Here's what else we know. There's all kinds of, based on these reports, investigative activities going on. You know, McClatchy reported the agencies involved, the FBI, CIA, National Security Agency, Justice Department, Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. I assume Obama knew something. I mean, unless he's Helen Keller. Now, let me make another point about this. That's a hell of a lot of agency resources. Those are a hell of a lot of investigators. The news reports, you mentioned the New York Times, January 20th. I just want to make sure CNN and MSNBC are aware of this.
They watch all the time, Mark. Nobody's watching them. Go ahead.
Wiretap data used in inquiry of Trump aides. I never said independent of news reports about the wiretap. Wiretap data used in inquiry of Trump aides. Well, didn't Mr. Clapper say there were no FISA orders issued? Can you play that tape for me so I can comment on that and pull this together?
I think we have that loaded, because he said it on Meet the Press this weekend. But we'll get it in a second.
It's very profound.
Yeah, well, but we'll get to that in a second. Go ahead.
But let me comment on it. It's very, very important. It's very important, because if Clapper says there was no FISA order, and he was very broad, and he was very definite, and he said, no, I don't remember this, and you'll play it later, then what the hell are we talking about? That means they didn't have enough information for probable cause to get a warrant in front of the FISA court. So, what's the FBI, the CIA, the National Security Agency, the Justice Department, the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network investigating? What are these wiretaps that the New York Times is talking about? You know, I know they want to focus on Donald Trump and his tweet. I want to focus on America and the Constitution. The reason I got fed up with this last week is I'm a constitutional conservative. I look at this. If I'm reading these news reports, we have a runaway executive branch. I don't know who knows what. And as of today, the media don't appear to know who knows what, which is exactly why I've been calling for congressional investigations. The question is, why aren't CNN, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, and all the rest of them, why aren't they concerned about this?
Mark,
rather than mock the president and his tweet, pay attention to what your own reporters and other reporters are saying.
So what you say is really deep and profound here, and I want to put some emphasis on this, and that is that the news media reported the leaks, the news media reported the surveillance, they reported it repeatedly. This is the mainstream media. As far as I know, they've never retracted the story, and everybody knew about it. It was not something that was hidden. Now, in fact, Donald Trump mentions that, in fact, it happened, and somehow this is, oh my gosh, this is outrageous. What do we, how do we definitively find out that, in fact, in June and again in October, there were attempts to surveil the then candidate of the opposition party by the current administration at the time, the Obama administration?
Well, two things need to happen, one way or another. Number one, the FISA applications, which Clapper denies, by the way. He denies, and the follow-up was pathetic over there at NBC, but we'll get to that. The FISA applications should be released. That's number one. The warrant that was supposedly secured in October should be released. The other thing that needs to be done is these daily presidential briefings that the president received, that the intelligence agencies and law enforcement agencies coordinate on and prepare. The Intelligence Committee chairmen need to read them And now we'll get to the bottom of this. Now, I find it very interesting. People are saying, well, let Trump release the damn FISA stuff. Can you imagine if he does that? He'd be accused of interfering with investigations, trying to intimidate the Justice Department. No. Let Congress finally step up and do its job. They have oversight committees. We pay these people to do their jobs. Now get into those damn FISA applications.
Isn't the
Look at the
reason-
so-called warrant. Hold on now.
Yeah.
Look at the warrant that was released. Look at these daily briefings, and let's see what's in them.
I can't speak for other Title III authorized entities in the government or a state or local entity.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if the FBI, for instance, had a FISA court order of some sort for a surveillance, would that be information you would know or not know?
Yes.
You would be told this.
I would know that.
If there was a FISA court order
Yes.
on something like this.
Something like this, absolutely.
And at this point, you can't confirm or deny whether that exists?
I can deny it.
Well, wait a minute. He's contradicting himself. Former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper yesterday on Meet the Press. We continue with the great one, Mark Levin, from his TV studio in Virginia. You know, so Obama gives a statement that says they didn't order it. Doesn't mean he doesn't know it. Clapper puts out all these caveats here. Well, the part I oversaw, I can't speak officially.
Let me
Go ahead.
Let me take it differently. I accept everything that James Clapper said, and it contradicts every piece of significant reporting over the last 6 months. If he's saying there was no FISA application, there was no FISA warrant, then why have so many news entities said that there are? That's number one. And number two, why didn't Chuck Todd have Mr. Clapper on weeks ago, before I did my radio show, before Donald Trump tweeted? Why didn't he have him on weeks ago to disclaim that this FISA court stuff was hanging out there? Let me explain something where we are here, Sean. They're all pivoting, including the media. They were trying to present the case of overwhelming connections, overwhelming concern, overwhelming potential evidence of Trump and the campaign involved with the Russians. Now it's, wait a minute, no. Because I say, these are police state tactics. Look at all this. You have no basis for all these investigations. Now they're saying, wait a minute, we didn't have a FISA warrant. We didn't do these wiretaps, eavesdropping, electronic surveillance. Now the media are completely confounded. Chuck Todd said, I got him now. I got the Trump guys now. And I'm by the way, I endorsed Cruz, just so the libs know, during the Republican primaries. And I want our president to succeed. This is about the Constitution.
Well, you also voted
it?
for Trump. You told your audience.
Well,
I think that's
absolutely.
Right.
So which is it? Which is it? Were there FISA warrants or not? Now, if there weren't, why didn't you report that weeks ago? If there are, some of us would like to see them. So we have a real problem right now. The media is turning on the media. We have leaks coming out that are felonies. We have stories about 6 federal departments and agencies, intelligence and law enforcement, that were investigating something, somebody, by somehow. So what's the answer? That's why we need to get to the bottom of this. I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Go ahead. You be the host.
Why all the investigations? Is there any evidence? Was there
Mark,
any
this is important.
evidence, scintilla of evidence? Hold on, I just need to finish my sentence. Was there any evidence, a scintilla of evidence at all, that Trump, his campaign advisors,
None.
and his transition
None.
team were on the take?
None.
Okay. Then why are 6 federal departments and agencies involved in an investigation, and now Clapper says he doesn't know anything?
This is profound for a lot of different ways, because we're talking about Fourth Amendment protections, First Amendment protections, Fifth Amendment protections, Sixth Amendment protections. There's so many, and the question that every American needs to know.
Now, we're talking about police state tactics.
I understand. And
by an executive branch,
that is
potentially.
true. Because if they can do what they did to Michael Flynn, General Flynn, and that is here, whenever they have every right to go after a Russian ambassador. But the law, the Espionage Act is clear that if they hear and identify an American on that line, they are not allowed to tape that American, and they're supposed to follow a process called minimization. Why does this matter? Because this is unreasonable search and seizure. And if they can do it to a presidential candidate, right? Now, either they did it or they didn't. Now, if they didn't do it, then that means the New York Times owes the country an apology. That means every major newspaper and every major network owes the American people an apology. Right?
Here's the New York Times, January 20th. Wiretap data used in inquiry of Trump aides. You read this earlier. One paragraph, please. The FBI is leading the investigations, aided by the National Security Agency, the CIA, the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Unit. More. The investigators have accelerated their effort. This is on inauguration morning, front page above the fold. The investigators have accelerated their efforts in recent weeks, but have found no conclusive evidence of wrongdoing, the official said. One official said, listen to this, intelligence reports based on some of the wiretap communications had been provided to the White House. Now, I didn't write that. You didn't write that. I asked Mr. Clapper. The FBI is leading an investigation. Did you know about that, sir? Aided by the NSA? Did you know about that, sir? And the CIA? Did you know about that, sir? And the Treasury Department? Did you know about that, sir? Did you know that one official said intelligence reports based on some of the wiretap communications had been provided to the White House? Did you know about that? And Chuck Todd, why didn't you ask him these questions? That's my question. Why are the media so lackadaisical and not curious?
You know, because you put all this together and you made such a compelling prosecutorial case here that it can't be argued intelligently because it's either one or the other. But then you get attacked by these little pipsqueaks on television. Let's go to one example.
There's a lot of...
What does the White House gain by the President of by Steve Bannon most likely handing the President of the United States a Breitbart article and talking about what a rabid right-wing talk show host has been theorizing?
Liberal Joe is Joe's calling you a rabid right-wing host, Mark.
Well, he's a chameleon. But let me just say this, Joe. Here's what I do know. You remember the movie Deliverance, the guy with the guitar on the bridge?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Joe's the splitting image, isn't he? Yes, he's the splitting image.
Okay. Listen, I got to go. I'm out of TV. Will you come on the show more often? Because if I don't pressure you publicly, you won't come on. You're invited on all the time. You're one of my best friends, and you never come on the show. Tell the audience why.
We got Levin TV right here, baby. CRTV.
You can still come on this show occasionally.
I'll come on more often.
All right. Great one.
Yes,
By the way, there's a reason I call you the great one. Thank you, my friend.